Hi, and welcome to day 2 of the Authentic and Extraordinary Challenge, specifically designed for moms who are ready to confront their fears, shed their insecurities, and really start living the extraordinary life of their dreams. I'm Christina Amon, the creator of the Authentic and Extraordinary 10-Day Challenge, and we are at day 2. So, again, I just want to thank you for taking this challenge with me and really taking this 10-day journey towards being authentic and living extraordinary. I'm so glad you're here with me, and I'm so excited to connect with you and share with you over the course of these 10 days. Now, yesterday's challenge, day 1, we talked about self-worth. And it's a pretty heavy challenge focus and a pretty heavy way to kick the challenge off. But we only have 10 days. So I wanted us to jump right in with both feet and really begin to do the work. So I hope that you really enjoyed day 1 and have really started to dig in into how you see yourself and how you value yourself. And we're just going to keep going deeper and deeper as we progress throughout the 10 days of this challenge. So, again, today is day 2. Day 2, woohoo! Get excited. We've made it to day 2. So, congratulations on conquering day 1. But day 2 is a little bit deeper, a little bit heavier, and a little bit longer. So I thought that it would be a good idea to record an audio for today's challenge. We're busy moms. We have so many things that we are responsible for, busy schedules and work and businesses and practices and games and all of homework and all of the things that we have to do as busy moms. And so sometimes finding time to sit down and read and do the things that we need to do is a bit of a challenge. And so hopefully recording this audio of today's challenge will help you to continue to maneuver through the challenge over the next 10 days and not get behind simply because life sometimes gets in the way. So hopefully this is a little bit easier for you. You can pop in your headphones and listen to today's challenge while you cook dinner, while you put the kids to bed, or if you are fortunate enough to have 10 or 15 minutes to yourself tonight after the kids have gone to bed. So let's jump right in because I don't want to make the video, this isn't a video. I don't want to make the audio too long. So day 2, we're at day 2 of the Authentic and Extraordinary Challenge, and we are discussing today's challenge focus is doubts, fears, and insecurities. The truth of the matter is every mom has doubts, fears, and insecurities. I just want to say right out there, right before we jump in, let me just make this crystal clear. Fear is a lie. Fear is a lie. It's a lie. Fear is the obstacle that prevents us from moving forward, making progress, fully trusting. And quite frankly, fear loves to distort the truth. As moms, we have a lot of fears. We have a variety of fears. Maybe I should say variety, not a lot. But, we have a variety of fears. Fears range from not measuring up, not making the right decisions, fear of failing at parenting or relationships, a variety of fears, or maybe the fear is simply of the unknown. Either way, we all have fears. And if we allow those fears to consume us, they will cause us to build walls, barriers, retreat to our comfort zone, and if we're not careful, we will remain stuck. If you're stuck in a rut, feeling unmotivated, can't push forward, find the fear that's hiding in that rut with you and confront it. Facing our fears and dealing with doubts and ridding ourselves of insecurities, it takes courage and boldness and the resolve to confront what hinders us. Everyone, and I mean everyone, experiences fear, deal with doubts, and struggle with insecurities at one point or another. Actually, I'm being a bit generous. We actually deal with one of these things every single day of our lives. Confronting what makes us uncomfortable is the first step to taking back our power to be who we truly are. Facing fears is confrontational and it's definitely uncomfortable. It's not a matter of some have fear and some fear nothing at all. That's not true. If we're completely honest, 100% honest, we all have fears or moments of fear. But what sets us apart is how we handle the fears as they arise. I'll tell you a brief story real quick. I can remember when I was a child, I guess I was about 4 or 5 years old, and my father, when putting me to bed at night, would turn off all the lights in every room. And I'm thinking, I'm 4, 5 years old maybe, and I'm thinking, can I at least get a night light? A cracked bathroom door, something? Can I get something? And as probably can imagine, or maybe you even live this scenario out yourself with your children, this fear of the dark. And you can probably imagine if you have a child that's afraid of the dark, if you put them in the bed and you shut off every light in the house and said good night, you could probably imagine or picture what the outcome is. I was terrified. I screamed. I cried. I begged. I did everything you could think of. I was pure, 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 wrapped in fear. Purely wrapped in fear. Now, I did everything I could possibly do to get out of my room, get out of the darkness, and get into my father's bed where I felt it was safe. Now, I would beg and beg and beg from my dad to let me sleep in his bed, and the answer would always be no. Absolutely resounding no. He would say to me, little girls belong in their own beds and not in bed with their daddy. I didn't understand that. I'm thinking, look, man, I'm scared of the dark. Let me sleep with you. I would say, no, I'm afraid of the dark. Please let me sleep with you. His response to that confession of my fear, it stays with me every single day of my life. He simply said to me, you're not afraid of the dark. What you're afraid of is what you think is in the dark. I can tell you over and over and over, he would tell me. I could tell you over and over and over that there is nothing to be afraid of in the dark. But if you don't believe that that's true, you will always be afraid of the dark. And after all of that wisdom, I'm 4 years old and I'm thinking, okay, so can I still sleep with you? The answer would always be no. He'd send me right back to bed. And he would, for the most part, without saying a word, send a very clear message to me. You're going to have to decide what you believe and confront the lie that's hiding in your fear. I wish I could tell you that magically my fears disappeared, but truthfully, it was the exact opposite. It took many nights confronting fear, struggling with sleeping in the dark, and choosing to believe the truth before I finally was able to overcome this fear. If I, for 1 second, would have turned on the light to sleep comfortably, I would not have overcome that fear. The point of that story is if we for 1 second decide to retreat back to our comfort zones instead of courageously standing in the uncomfortable place, confronting fear, overcoming that fear, and standing in our vulnerabilities. If we retreat back instead of owning our vulnerabilities and standing in that uncomfortable place, we have then given up the freedom that awaits us on the other side of overcoming fear. So, what does our fear really say about us? What is the lie that is attached to the fear? And is that lie holding you back? What's the lie? Is the lie that you are going to fail? You're going to be rejected. You're going to be alone. You're going to be hurt. Is the lie that you're not worthy of love? That you're not worthy of success? That you're not worthy of joy and happiness? Or is the lie that you might actually be worthy, but you're afraid that you might actually live out this life of love and success and joy and happiness and actually attain it? You know, one of my favorite quotes by Marianne Williamson is, "Our deepest fears is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in every one of us. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others." I absolutely love that quote. Fear exposes our doubts and our insecurities. Where there is fear, there is doubt, or there is a point where you have begun to believe a lie. Where there is fear, there is insecurity. You know, doubt is that feeling of uncertainty or lack of conviction. And insecurities are everything we think we're not. I'm not smart enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not accomplished enough. I'm not good at this. I can't do that. You know, there are 3 ways, I think, to deal with doubt and insecurity. The first way is faith. Faith addresses the uncertainty. You know, both fear and faith are based on what is unseen. You simply have to choose which side you're going to be on. Either way, you can't see it. Either way, you don't know what's on the other side. So are you going to choose faith or are you going to choose fear? Faith is a result of hope, while doubt is the result of fear. I do not know whether or not my business will be a success. Doubt would say, well, I don't know if my business is going to be a success because, I didn't graduate from college. I never finished college. And I don't have, a family made of money and all of the other insecurities. Where hope is a confidence. Hope is a belief that it's possible. I don't know whether or not my business will be a success, but I believe it's possible for me to empower and inspire and connect with women and moms all over the world. You choose faith or fear. The other way to deal with doubt and insecurities is trust. Trust is where your confidence comes from. Where do you place your trust? Where you place your trust is vital to dealing with doubt and overcoming fear. Trusting God is placing your confidence in His credibility, reliability, patience, selflessness, and complete love for you. When we trust ourselves, we have confidence in our abilities, vulnerabilities, integrity, self-worth. We are confident in the greatness within us when we trust ourselves. Lastly, boldness. Boldness compels us to action. Boldness is led by our convictions, what we believe, and it is rooted by our courage to be vulnerable. Being vulnerable is being able to stand in your insecurities, stand in your flaws, stand in your imperfections, and not hide them, but embrace your insecurities and know that in your insecurities, there is beauty. That's what being vulnerable, being authentic is really about. When you think about boldness, what animal do you think of? Now, for me, I immediately think of a lion. The lion is this symbolic creature of strength and authority and courage and command. When we see a lion, we don't see fear. We see power and we see the readiness to protect and defend. That is what boldness is in us. Boldness is the lion that is ready to protect our dreams, that is ready to defend our purpose, and that is ready to confront anything that stands in the way with courage. So to end today's challenge, I want to talk briefly about our insecurities. I spoke a little bit about insecurities a few minutes ago as I defined what insecurity really is in our lives. It's everything we think we're not. What we believe about ourselves will either produce faith or fear. If you're experiencing a lot of fear and doubt lately or always, first start by figuring out what you truly believe about yourself. And that was a part of yesterday's challenge. Yesterday we talked about self-worth and where our value comes from. Oftentimes as women, and especially as moms, we assign our value and worth to be what we do, where we are, how much we've accomplished, and what we have. The trouble with this is that the standard of measurement is that of insecure people or other assumptions of how other people value us, or what outside influences tell us we should have in order to be valuable or worth something, having something to offer. Steve Furtick said, the reason we struggle with insecurity is because we compare our behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel. Your raw, unedited story that is still in progress cannot be compared to the edited and polished clips that we see in other people's lives. Being vulnerable is owning your story, every bit of it. The beauty, the flaws, the imperfections, the mistakes, the failures, the successes. Being vulnerable, being authentic is owning your story and seeing the beauty in every part of your story, including the flaws, including the insecurities. Seeing the beauty in who you are, including your flaws. Now, if any of us say, well, I don't care what other people think about me and I don't have that problem. I'm all about who I am. I know who I am. Then that's wonderful. That is wonderful. But I have never met a person on the face of this earth who does not have some form of insecurity. I've never met a mom who does not struggle with insecurity in one aspect or the other, if we're truly honest. Insecurities, again, are anything and everything we think we are not. And if we are not authentic in those things that we think we're not and owning them, we miss out on opportunities to build meaningful connections with those within our lives. Pretending comes from not being willing to be vulnerable. Overcoming fear and dealing with doubt means first accepting your imperfections and your flaws. Confronting fear must come from the courage to say, I'm not perfect, and a willingness to be vulnerable in the place within us that still needs work. I'll leave you here with the motivational thought. As I was preparing this challenge, this thought came to me, and I want to share this motivation with you. Your fears are an indication that there is a lie wrapped in doubt, robbing you of freedom. When you think of your fear, think of it as this is a lie that's wrapped in doubt and it's trying to rob me of my freedom. Confront the lie, because all of what you hope for is waiting on you to move forward despite your insecurities with full confidence in who you are. So now it's time for the empowered action activity. I'd like you to take a few moments to reflect on the presence of fear in your life. Hopefully you have a notebook or a journal that you'll be using throughout the 10 days of this challenge. And in that notebook today, for day 2 of the challenge, I'd like you to write what your deepest fears are. What are your deepest fears? And then I'd like you to write what the belief is behind those fears. Take a few moments as you have the time, maybe this evening after the kids have gone to bed, or maybe on a lunch break tomorrow, or whenever you have a few minutes to just be still and be quiet. And I want you to write down your insecurities, all of those things, all of those areas that you are insecure about. And think about what these insecurities have stopped you from doing or saying or completing, or who those insecurities have stopped you from connecting to or with. After you've completed the empowered action activity, I encourage you to choose a fear that you've written down. And I'd like you to write a few affirmations that you will say to confront that fear. And I encourage you, do not back down until you overcome the fear. As always, I encourage you to head on over to our private Facebook group where you can connect with other challengers who are going through the 10-day challenge of being authentic and living extraordinary. And for today's challenge, I'd like you to head over into the group and really be vulnerable today. Be vulnerable and share with us one or some of your insecurities without shame and without fear of rejection, judgment, without fear and without shame. Share one or a few of your insecurities with the group. I'm looking forward to, as always, your questions, your insights, your thoughts, your input as the challenge progresses on. Please join in the conversations, take part in the discussions, and share your insights as you maneuver through each challenge in our private Facebook group. I hope that you are finding the challenges to be thought-provoking, to be empowering and motivating as we all collectively go through this journey of being our authentic true selves, living an extraordinary life full of purpose and fulfilling our purpose and living out our dreams, because moms, we are powerful. And as we live out our dreams, we give all of the little people that we influence the permission to live out their dreams as well. So that's day 2 of facing our fears, dealing with our doubts, and confronting our insecurities. I look forward to chatting with you in the Facebook group. Have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow.